Hello and welcome to alltalk, the Geekbox Forums community podcast. This is episode 14 for the week of May 7th, 2012. This week we talk about horrible experiences at the movies, American comic books, and our movie box pick of the week, Last Dragon. And tune in to after the outro for some spoiler talk on the Avengers movie. Hello and welcome. I am Dakazu from the forums. Welcome to All Talk, the Geekbox Forums community podcast. And who is with me this week?
Biggie,
CrossXhunter,
Mr. X,
and Totoro.
Welcome back, Biggie. Welcome back, CrossXhunter.
Thank you.
So this is episode 14?
This is episode 14. Yes, happy Cinco de Mayo, and also happy Children's Day for Japanese holiday.
Revenge of the 5th.
and happy
Oh my God, that's
Avengers
awful.
release weekend.
That's not real, is it? Revenge of the 5th?
Yes, because yesterday...
And
I
yesterday was
I
May
like
the
it.
4th?
It's so awful, it's good.
Yeah,
It's very clever.
I think it's so awful, it's awful. Think about it.
Yeah, I was going to celebrate by watching the Star Wars series in machete order for the first time, but did not get around to it,
Instead, you should just watch the Avengers
which I did.
again.
I saw the Avengers before recording this podcast, and I had the worst fucking experience in theaters that I've had in years. It was
I've had
terrible.
I've
Okay,
also
so-
had a pretty terrible experience recently.
Whoa, wait. Let me give my
Yeah, I was
rant,
gonna
okay?
say,
And then
let's
you can
let-
compare. All right, listen. So my wife and I went to the 10 o'clock showing at this theater, IMAX, okay? We bought our tickets online. So we get to the theater and park our car, and we get there around 9:20. There's already a slight line.
Plenty
But
early, though.
yeah, but you know what? It's okay because we are well within the first 20, okay? As we're waiting and waiting for them to listen to the theater, the line gets bigger and bigger. My wife and I are very happy that we did not stop to get breakfast or whatever and just go straight. So they don't open the doors of the theater till 9:45ish. And once they open those doors and let us in, they say, go stand in line by the actual theater, like the actual
Auditorium.
auditorium, yeah. So we go stand in line there, and during that time, I get the 3D glasses for IMAX, and my wife goes and gets some food and some soda, and we're waiting. And we're waiting there for, I would say, another 20 minutes by the auditorium. And they finally move away these things that were blocking the doors, and they let us know, hey, as soon as everyone gets settled, we're going to start the movie. So we're like, okay, cool, finally. So we get in there. I thought it was going to be more packed, but the auditorium was very large. And actually, basically everyone pretty much got fairly good seating. It wasn't that crowded. It was full, but not, like super, like everyone had most groups had like a seat between them and stuff like that. So we're sitting there, we're waiting. Around 10:20, this lady comes in. She's like, we'll be starting in 5 minutes, okay? At this point, I have a bad feeling about this.
What time was the movie supposed to start?
The movie was supposed to start at 10.
Good
So
time.
It's
now
10:20 already. Now,
And, okay.
10 minutes later, all the lights on the theater go on. At this point, you're like, shit,
Party's
right?
over.
Yeah, so the lady comes in. She's like, I'm really sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Don't shoot the messenger.
To this other auditorium where they're doing a 10:35 showing. And he make sure you stop as you leave to get your ticket vouchers for like a free viewing. So yeah.
Wait, so they just doubled you up with another showing? So now
Yep.
you're in a rammed theater?
Yeah, but thank God it was not super full at that point either.
And also,
Like it
I
was more crowded at that point, but it wasn't like packed.
For supposedly the greatest movie ever, there's not that many people watching it. What's up with that?
Well, it was 10:30 in the morning.
perfect time to watch a movie.
But you said it was the greatest movie ever.
It
On
made
a
80
Saturday
million.
morning.
Or was that
It
just
has
hyperbole?
the second highest opening day box office ever.
Wait,
That means nothing.
stop. I'm almost finished. Let me finish this.
It gets
Whoa,
worse?
whoa. Get
There
back
was
into
there was
subject.
one more part to this, okay? So we get into there. My wife and I are pissed at this point, right? Like obviously a lot of people are pissed. We were like within the first top 20, and yet we sat kind of in the back So now, like, it screwed us over. It was hard to get out of the first auditorium and go into the second one. We still got fairly good seats. So finally, the movie starts, right? So, they're playing all the trailers and stuff like that. That's why we were late starting recording this podcast. But halfway through, while we're watching the awesome Avengers movie, they turned the AC off.
Shit, and you're in Honolulu, so what's the temperature there today?
It is fairly warm. I would say low 80s. But the problem is, usually at the movie theater, they blast the AC, right? So my wife was like, you know what? I usually get cold. I'm going to wear jeans. So my wife was dying. She was, like, very uncomfortable.
Why'd they turn off the AC?
Because they're assholes. I'm never going back to that theater, except to use my free ticket voucher.
But now you have free tickets.
I have 3 free tickets.
I should hope so.
How did you wind up with 3?
Because I grabbed one as I was leaving, and then my wife was like, they wouldn't give me one. So, like, she got pissed, and when we got to the second auditorium, she got out of her seat, and she's like, I'm going to get it before, like, they start. So she was able to grab 2. So we have an extra one.
Nice. Is there a time limit for these tickets?
I don't know. I should check that. But, yeah, so that was a really shitty movie experience that I haven't had in a long time.
That sounds awful.
It was awful.
The worst that I ever had was when I saw Freddy vs. Jason in the theater. And everybody was talking throughout the entire movie. I mean, everybody in the audience was talking. So much so they stopped the movie, turned on all the lights, and a cop had to come in and tell everyone to shut up.
Oh my God.
That's pretty funny.
What?
Yeah. The cop, I was expecting him to pull his gun.
What?
Was it like a late night showing? What
yeah,
time?
It was like, I think the last showing of the night, so it was like 11:30.
Oh, wow.
My worst movie theater experience, I went to go see Beowulf with my dad, and there no problem. The projector overheated twice. It was an IMAX 3D showing, and the projector overheated twice, causing 2 15-minute breaks while they waited for it to cool down. Then at the end, the movie got unsynced after they brought the projector back, so the audio and video were not correct for the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Did you get a ticket voucher?
Oh, yes, I totally did. I was very pissed off. That was a unenjoyable movie experience.
I've got a couple of those, though.
Do you want to give like a non-spoilery, like our thoughts on the Avengers real quick? Just because we're going to be going into spoilers
Biggie
later.
or Totoro had like a horrible movie experience.
I have, but it's not like nothing that exciting. When I saw Borat, it was the world premiere, and the projector broke about 15 minutes in. But on the plus side, Michael Moore and I can't remember who else got up and tried to tell jokes to keep the crowd occupied as they were trying to fix the projector, but they never could.
So you're actually talking the actual world premiere, like with celebrities and shit?
Yes, the projector broke.
How in the fuck did you manage to pull that off? Was this at like Grauman's?
No, it was at the Toronto Film Festival.
Oh, okay. So yeah, and okay. That makes sense.
So like, I'm big on the TIFF because they always show like lots of like they have a Midnight Madness series, which is all like kung fu movies and horror slasher movies and all that stuff, and I go to most of them. And projector broke.
I would kind of expect it for that movie.
Kind of shitty. He showed up on a cart pulled by hookers. It was magical.
What?
Like real hookers?
Well, actors dressed like prostitutes. Yes.
Okay.
As far as you know.
They're probably real.
Totoro?
Okay, so I had a couple of them that were kind of bad. Okay, so in downtown Indianapolis, there used to be this place called Hollywood Barn Filmworks, and it's one of these places where you can go in and you can sit down and like you order food and they bring it to you, and they had actually like really good food, and it was really nice because we actually got into movies there for free because through where I was working at the time, they were doing a promotion where you got this card. I don't think I had to pay anything for the card, where I would not have to pay admission. I would just have to pay for my food. So that was fine. But when Beer Fest came out, my wife and I, great, hilarious movie. My wife and I decided that we're going to invite a couple of friends of ours out, and we're all going to go see Beer Fest there. And so we get down there. I check the times on the website and make sure that everything that we know what's going on, so we know when to meet. So drive downtown. Since it's downtown Indianapolis, we have to park in a parking garage, and that costs like on a Tuesday night or whatever, that's like $3 or $4. So do that. We go up there to get our tickets, and they say, "Oh, this isn't the time for the movie. It doesn't start for like another hour. This time is actually for Snakes on a Plane." And I was like starving. I was like, "Fine, fuck it. We'll go see Snakes on a motherfucking Plane. I'm starving at this point." So we go see that, and like everyone who was in there for who was in Snakes on a Plane was in there for Beer Fest, and so we were just railing against the movie, and no one gave a shit. It was just kind of funny. So
that movie is underrated.
It was not horrible, but it wasn't Beer Fest. So by the time he got to the point where he said, "I'm tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane," everyone was just cheering.
Quick question for everybody.
Yep.
Have y'all ever been to a movie theater without arena-style seating?
It's been a while.
Yes.
There were...
Like Flare, you mean?
Yeah, to where the seats are not raised above each other, so if you have a tall person in front of you, you're screwed.
Yeah,
I go to a theater like that regularly.
Well, I guess one of the things that we had a lot, especially in the small town, well, not small town, the medium-sized city outside of Indy where I'm from, they don't have the actual stadium style where it goes up like even more, but you have a slight incline, and God, some of the seats were just absolutely horrible. But we had like old like theater palace type theaters there as well. We had like an old Paramount that's still in operation, although they don't show movies there very much.
So are you saying you went to a Nickelodeon?
It wasn't. No, it's not a Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon's just something it's like something you actually just like stick your head down into and watch.
You put in a nickel.
And you put in a nickel.
Yes.
I didn't know you were from the 1920s.
I took a history of motion picture class. I know things.
So did I.
I actually took a American class in college called American Bestsellers and Their Movies, and we talked about like Last of the Mohicans, which is a horrible fucking book if I've ever read one, and The Godfather, Peyton Place, and there were a couple other ones that were not wonderful. Godfather was obviously the best movie of the bunch.
I think my course was called American History Through Cinema.
I thought you were going to say American History X.
Mine was just
no, but I would
picture.
love to see the original cut of that movie before Edward Norton fucked it all up.
Hey, that movie is fantastic.
I know, but the director had his name taken off of it.
You see, I told you, Edward Norton is crazy with all his movies.
He is notoriously difficult to work with.
I like his acting, but he's not a good actor.
Apparently, that movie originally was about his younger brother, not about him.
Well, it's still about his younger brother. It's just there's context.
Anyway, I don't know. Apparently, the director shot like 6 hours of footage. So there's tons of footage that was not used. And Edward Norton did the editing, not the director.
So, should we give us on the Avengers real quick? Non-spoilery?
Yeah, after we're done and the outro credits, we're going to have a spoiler talk. But yeah, I would say I really, really liked it. It was awesome.
I really liked it too. I would say it's in the same league as Cabin in the Woods.
Okay, so here's my question. I just watched Thor and I just watched Captain America. Better than both of those?
Yes.
Yes.
I would say I was talking to X about this yesterday after I went and saw the movie, and during the beginning parts of it, I was thoroughly enjoying it, and I thought to myself, I was thinking, what am I going to say on the podcast tomorrow? And it came to me, and I was like, this is the best comic book superhero movie that I've ever seen that didn't have Batman in it. And then kind of gradually towards the end, when when you start to get to the climax of the movie, I actually thought to myself, I don't know that I can use that qualifier on it. This may be the best comic book superhero movie I've ever watched.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
say I'm not sure if it's a better overall movie as The Dark Knight, but I would say it's a better comic movie than The Dark Knight.
You could definitely make the argument and make a strong case.
Yes.
even though, like,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go.
All right, The Dark Knight. I would rarely consider that a comic book movie, even though it features Batman, just because of its tone. It's not silly or over the top as comics normally are.
And it just had a different tone about it than traditional comic books have.
Right. See, for me, yeah, it is kind of hard to put, any especially the Nolan Batman movies in with comic book movies, because they are just so they're really grounded in reality. They don't really do anything that's, way out in left field.
Well, I would say Batman Begins is still like a comic book movie.
It to a degree.
It has Scarecrow and all that.
Well, but the Scarecrow is still grounded in reality, that it's, some sort of toxin that he throws out. It's not like, Thor or Superman, where, you have these aliens that are, flying around the planet, which up until now has not happened, in real life.
Yeah, but Batman did summon a bunch of bats at one point in Batman Begins.
I will give you that one.
I have one more question. Like, usually these movies where they're like ensemble superhero casts, they they can't produce a cohesive story. Like, how do they deal with that problem effectively? Like,
Yes. Very well written.
It's like Iron Man, you're getting 20 minutes of screen time, and that's that.
No,
it's not. They don't
You will see.
dole it out like that, but it's
perfectly balanced.
Yeah. And,
all right.
I mean, I think that, if you go into it thinking, okay, this superhero A is going to be the main superhero of this, ensemble superhero movie cast, then you're going to see it through that scope, and you could do that for any one of the 5 or 6 superheroes on the Avengers in this movie.
Except for, I guess, Hawkeye. I guess he would have had the least amount of screen time and presence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true. But you'll see that when you go see it.
And really, Joss Whedon was the perfect person to do this, since everything he's ever done has been about groups of characters interacting with each other.
Right.
Yeah, but we will talk more about Avengers afterwards in the spoiler cast.
Yep.
Let's move on to our main topic, which is why we have CrossXhunter here. In celebration of the Avengers movie, we're going to talk about American comics, or as I like to call them, white comics.
Because you're super racist.
Today was Free Comic Book Day.
Sure thing, Round Eye.
Yeah, today was Free Comic Book Day.
Do you get a good comic when they do Free Comic Book Day?
Sometimes.
Isn't it a bunch of comics that you get free, not just one?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, publishers send out their ones that they're designating to send out free, and then companies still have to buy them. But they'll generally give you a few free.
So I am really behind on the comics.
What was the last comic you read?
Well, a couple weeks ago, I read the first issue of Lock and Key.
I've never read that, but I've always seen it, and I've heard it was really good. What is it about?
Well, the first issue is about this kid's dad gets killed by some crazy kids that he was, I guess, the guidance counselor of. And his mom and dad, I think. And then he moves in with his uncle at some weird house, and then there's this doorway in the house, and his little brother goes through it and turns into a ghost. But when he goes back to the door, he's, alive again.
So it's supernatural in element?
Yes.
That is not what I thought that was about at all.
Sounds interesting. Who's the publisher on that? Is that Marvel, DC?
I don't think it's either.
I want to say it's IDW.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay.
But yeah, the first issue was pretty good. I'll read more eventually. But before that, I think the last thing I read was Fables. I got caught up, which was, I think, in the 70s.
I've been working my way through Fables for the past year and a half. I got till it split into all the other different ones with the big old crossover, and I just finally gave up on it.
This is the same series that's mentioned on the Geek Box often, right?
Fables is really good.
Fables is great. Are you familiar with it?
Only from what I know from the Geek Box talk.
Yeah, it's about all fairy tale characters. They come to our Earth and they try to blend in, but they're still fairy tale characters.
So it's like Grimm, the TV series, but a comic book?
I
Sure.
don't think so.
No,
Not quite.
that's Grimm Fairy Tales. This is
Well,
more
yeah.
like kind of.
Aesop's Fables.
I mean,
Maybe, I don't
ABC
know.
was developing a Fables TV show, and then they stopped doing that, and they made Once Upon a Time.
Also,
Which is
from what I
okay.
know of Grimm is more based in reality, and Fable still just goes into its weird fantasy Fable world.
Yes, very much so. I mean, at one point, spoilers for it, I guess. Well, I don't want to spoil it because Cross is reading it.
No, I've read past where I think you were. I'm like around issue 70 some odd.
With Boy Blue going back to the home world.
Yes, that was a good set of issues. He was my favorite character.
Yeah, he's great.
Is this available in compendiums?
It should be.
I don't know if they have like
No, trades.
omnibuses of it, like The Walking Dead does, but I know they do have trades, and I have a few of those.
Because trade paperback like the only way I read comics now anymore.
It was a pretty good reveal of who the big bad guy was that forced them all out of their homeland and into Earth. It was pretty great. I didn't really expect it to be him until it was him.
Totoro, what was the last comic you read?
Well, for a while there, I was working on getting caught up on the Walking Dead, as far as starting to work my way through reading the trades.
I only read through like 2 trades of that. From what I saw, I enjoyed it a lot more than the TV show.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and it's just that probably right around that time is when kind of real life started to proverbially get in the way. Prior to that, I've not read a lot of comic books for a while. Probably prior to that, the last thing I read was like Watchmen, and that was leading up to when Watchmen came out. So, but if there are other things that I've been wanting to read, sit down and just pour through it. Like I was wanting to read House of M really bad.
The Marvel event.
Yeah. See, I've always really liked the Marvel, especially the Marvel X events. Like that goes back to like in the early to mid '90s. One of my favorite sets was, or as far as events goes, was Executioner's Song. When they has anyone read that?
I don't really read much Marvel. I've read like a couple.
I don't read Marvel either. I'm a DC man.
Okay, I think I think as far as like the geek box community goes, I'm surrounded by DC guys, and I've always kind of dug the Marvel more. But basically, Executioner's Song was when they killed Professor X, or they had someone assassinate him. And they thought it was Cable, but then it turned out that it was Strife, and it was just this big summer-long event that spanned, X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, X-Factor, X-Force, and it was really good. It was about 12 issues between the 3 months between the 4 books, but it was kind of neat. It was really good. I liked it a lot.
The only Marvel things I've read are Runaways by Brian K. Vaughan, and then Joss Whedon also did a storyline on that.
Yes, that's a good series.
And Astonishing X-Men, also by Joss Whedon.
Funny thing is, those are pretty much the only 2 Marvel series I've read either, besides some Ultimate Spider-Man.
Runaways is really good, though.
I was starting to read, like, back when they were coming out, back when they were in the kind of the low issue numbers. I was trying to read some of the Ultimate Marvel stuff, but I kind of go in spurts, and I'm almost more of a collector anymore than a person who reads all of the books.
I like reading them digitally on my iPad.
Yeah, I was wondering if anybody else actually read single issues like me, or just only read the trades.
I don't think Biggie reads any comics.
No, I read some comics, but only trade paperbacks. Like I have Ronin right now on my desk, and I'm all caught up on The Walking Dead. And before that, I went through all of Swamp Thing. And I'm a big Alan Moore fan, so.
Okay.
I read Alan Moore's Swamp Thing last year. That was a very revelatory series.
It's just crazy comic. I don't think they write comics like that anymore, but I'm not sure.
If you like
How do you
that,
mean?
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask you what you meant by it was a very revelatory comic.
Like the art in that series, nobody draws like anymore after like the advent of the 90s and the early 2000s when people started using computers to do their art. And also the stories they're able to tell in it are just very good. And I would actually place that as one of my top comics.
I like Sandman a little bit better than Swamp Thing, but
Everyone tells me Sandman is really good, but I haven't
Sandman
read it.
are awesome comics. They're awesome comics.
I was only able to get through like a few issues of Sandman, then I stopped because I realized how much I had ahead of me. But I like a character it introduced, Death.
Yeah,
I hear that girl showed up in Action Comics at some point.
Yes, last year they were doing Lex Luthor taking over Action Comics, and she appeared in it. And it was very good.
Sounds pretty cool. I think my favorite is Why the Last Man. My favorite comic ever.
Which you've told me to check out.
Everyone should check that out.
That was the first comic series I ever bought the entire run of, and I have that sitting near me.
Biggie, have you read that?
No.
It was also
It's great.
It was also the first comic I cried in whenever I got to the very end.
Yeah, I can see why that would happen.
That's a comic.
Yeah, I've read a little bit of that. It was some of the early issues. I definitely loved the premise, and that was kind of one of those that I really felt like they could have easily made it into like a TV show or something.
Yeah,
if they would do it well.
There was talks of it being a movie. I guess the director of Suburbia.
Is that
the one with
Disturbia?
Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah, that one. That and Eagle Eye. That director had the rights to it. So everyone was thinking Shia LaBeouf was going to play the main character, and he would kind of fit. Yeah.
Since we've already mentioned 2 Brian K. Vaughan books, are any of y'all reading his new one, Saga?
I am not. Like I said, I'm really behind.
It's only 2 issues in so far, and the first issue was like 40 pages for the normal like $3.99 or $2.99. And I would suggest picking it up. It's such an interesting world.
What's it about, broadly speaking?
I don't know if it's the future or just an alternate world, but it's like about aliens and like these 2 alien people. They're all humanized, and they have like a child together, and things start happening, and they're on the run, stuff like that.
So it takes place on Earth, but it's like aliens trying to blend in on Earth?
No, I don't think it's on Earth. I think it's on some weird space colonies or just other civilizations.
Okay.
Have you read Ex Machina?
No.
It's also by Brian K. Vaughan. I haven't read it either.
So, CrossXhunter, I have a question. So you read a lot of American comics. If you were going to suggest one current running American comic series to go by, what would that be?
Well, I'm pretty much only reading DC right now, but depending on what you like, it could be different things. But I would have to say right now my favorite would be Demon Knights.
Why is that?
I just like stories set in like medieval times, and this is a story featuring some DC characters that could fit during that time. And it's just like magic and knights and stuff and big battles. And also the art's pretty good.
So it's like Batman in King Arthur's realm kind of thing?
Kind of. It's an ensemble cast between probably about 8 characters, and they're having like a war with people. I think it just finished up its first story arc.
That sounds alright.
So it's still fairly early in the run then.
Yeah, all the New 52 titles, I think now we're in month 9, so they're still all pretty early if you want to jump on anything.
Was it DC or Marvel that just like rebooted everything?
DC.
DC, and has that been good?
Yeah, I would say so. I'm reading currently about 24, 25 of the about 60 now because they dropped 8 and are starting to add 8 new ones. But I've fallen down on probably a few titles, so I'm not counting those.
Do you guys read anything other than like Marvel or DC, like any Image comics?
I don't think I read any Image, and I haven't for a while, but...
Well, other than Walking Dead.
Walking Dead?
I'm not actually caught on Walking Dead. I'm probably still somewhere in issue like 20.
You know, Invincible is really good.
I read through the first trade of that, and I wanted more, but I haven't bothered to get around to it yet.
It gets pretty crazy.
I've read about what happens and how bananas it gets and stuff. Seems pretty cool.
It's funny how much of a homage it is to the DC universe.
I think the first time I ever heard of Invincible was actually on one of the old One Up podcasts whenever they were talking about it, and I always thought, I was like, it's a really interesting concept.
It's really, really good, especially like when they hit that first twist.
I think I know what you're talking about, but we should not say.
Yes.
So when you get all these, like, all your weeklies, or is that the right word?
Yeah. Monthlies, actually.
Monthlies now. Did you get them digitally, or do you buy the physical still?
A bit of both. I buy monthlies digitally, but I will buy the trades or graphic novels, depending on who you're asking, every so often. And I also have a library that I like to support, and I get them to pick up comics for me.
You know, you guys should check out the series Chew.
I've heard excellent things about Chew, and its concept sounds very different.
I think I was telling Dakazu about this the other day.
That's the detective story, right? Where he like eats things.
He can see how whatever he's eating, whatever he takes a bite of, he sees how it died.
Well,
I don't know. They never covered that, I don't think.
This seems like a logic that needs to be explored.
I know the only thing he can eat is beets, because beets don't show him the last thing that they saw when it died. Everything else, though. But
That sounds really cool, actually.
it has a really good... It's hilarious. It's just... The premise is so ridiculous. Poultry has been outlawed because of the bird flu. So they are going around busting illegal poultry operations. And he's a member of the FCC.
Wait, the Federal Communications Commission?
No, that's not what I meant. What's the food, whatever?
FDA?
That's it, yeah. Whatever. It's been 2 or 3 years since I've read it.
The FAA.
But aren't they still making them?
NOAA.
Yeah, they
Or
are.
is it-
I only
Yeah.
read the first trade, I think.
It's weird, though. If they're still making them and there's only 24 issues, that seems like a very slow pace.
You could say that about a lot of like non-Big Two comics. They can take forever to come out. Last year, I think, issue called Non-Player came out, and it was just gorgeous. But we're still waiting on number 2 months later.
And, you know, they're talking about making a Chew TV series for Showtime.
That'd be pretty good.
I've
But
seen
it's supposed to be like a 30-minute like comedy.
I've seen the art style for it. I would really enjoy seeing that animated.
I really highly recommend everyone read Chew.
If I can get it as trade paperback, then I will.
Dakazu, what have you read? Because I know you don't like white people comics.
I have read some American comics. Let's see. When I was growing up, I really liked Evan Dorkin's Milk and Cheese. You guys ever heard of that?
Yep. Milk
Never
and cheese
heard
is
of it.
awesome. Milk
No
and cheese is
clue.
awesome.
Biggie, you explain that real quick. I'll find an image.
I can't. It's just crazy. They're just crazy comics. They're like. I can't describe it.
Is it
It's just-
between two characters named Milk and Cheese?
Yeah, they're a carton of milk and a bit of cheese.
And they just beat the crap out of everybody.
Wait, so it's like
And
Aqua
murder
Teen
them.
Hunger Force?
Kind of?
Basically, yeah. A drink to your death. Yeah. I don't know. It's just weird shit.
Oh,
And-
that's very weird.
Let's see, what else have I have read up on a lot of The Walking Dead, though it's mostly for the story, not necessarily for the art. The problem with me and American comics is I really don't like how they frame out like the art and frame out the action sequences as opposed to Japanese manga.
I feel like manga will spend longer on fights, just be very like wide panel shots and like more intricate about things, and they can spend.
I mean, obviously, I'm
issues going.
speaking in general terms, but I find that like it's a lot more wordy in American comics, where just lots of dialogue happening and more like not so much action happening through the art. And I prefer
Mhm.
like action to happen through the art. But like I said, I know I'm speaking on general broad terms. I have read American comics, some of which were pretty good. But I mean, like, Why the Last Man X that you told me to read?
Yes.
That's a prime example of like the framing of like the page and how the dialogue works out that I don't like.
Reading
Go
reading
ahead.
the scripts for Why the Last Man that'll sometimes include in the trade paperbacks, you can tell that he spent a lot of time thinking about how the art should be framed to tell his story.
Yeah, well, I don't like it. That's the problem. It's just a matter of preference.
Well, he's also a screenwriter, the writer of Y the Last Man. Like, he was one of the writers on Lost.
Yeah.
I think he left during the last season, though.
I don't know. I remember. I don't. He seems. I remember seeing his name a lot, especially in the run up to the end of the show.
I know he left at some point.
Dakazu, you're similar to my friend I tried to introduce to Americomics. He reads manga, but I tried showing him some comics, and he thought they were much too wordy for him. It would just take him forever to get through one.
It's just, it's a different style, you know? Like
Yeah.
in manga, they frame the action through like a lot of movement and motion in the art. And it feels like in a lot of American comics, like they're more talking and not so much to the action. Totoro, I sent him this Wolverine comic done by a Japanese manga artist. Did you read that?
I haven't had a chance to today.
Well,
but I am planning on it.
Well, it's basically, it just proves like a very general point, because if you look at that Wolverine comic, Snicked, by this Japanese author Tsutomu Nihei, he does manga, and the way he frames out his art and like the wide giant shots and like all the action, it just shows you what like the difference is in the styles. I was hoping Totoro read it so he could just like comment on it, but
I glanced through it.
It looked cool.
And I can definitely see what you mean by a difference of style. Like reading other comics that feature Wolverine and stuff, it is just night and day different.
Yeah, it's just a matter of preference, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just used to manga. And I have read a lot of manga that is very wordy as well. So like I said, it's not... I know I'm speaking on general terms.
Well, and don't you read Walking Dead in Japanese as well?
Yeah, I
got
Really?
Walking Dead in Japanese.
I got
weird.
the Japanese translated version of like Walking Dead. All the art is all the same. It's just translated in Japanese. It's hilarious.
It's already in black and white for you, so they don't even have to do anything.
And pretty much they just got to translate it, right?
Don't they just have to flip all the pictures?
I wonder if anything was like lost in translation.
I don't know. I just
Suntory Times everywhere.
Suntory
Sorry,
Times.
go ahead.
But if you guys want to suggest other like American comics that you think I might enjoy, like, and another thing that I have a problem with American comics is I don't like superhero comics because I don't like the idea of like different authors taking like one source material.
You don't like
Because
work
then
for hire things.
Yeah, it just seems to me very fan fiction-y. Like I prefer works where one person like is hopefully it's one artist and one author, one writer, and they just work together to keep everything consistent.
And they do like Cradle of the Grave.
Like X was telling me about Preacher, and that sounds fairly interesting because it's one author, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and stuff like that. And
And
I
Why the
just
Last
looked at
Man is one author.
Yeah, Why the
Yeah.
Last Man, Fables has been Bill Willingham, I'm pretty sure, since the beginning.
Yeah, so Fables, I mean, Why the Last Man would have been something that I would probably be interested in, but as far as the first issue goes, I wasn't a big fan of the art style.
Well, my favorite comic book of all time is French, though. It's not. It's Ancal by Mobius and Jodorowsky or whatever his name is.
Never heard of it.
Never. You'd like it. Not much writing. Lots of like just pictures. It's like a sci-fi story, like dystopian future. It's really cool.
Is that Alejandro Jodorowsky, like the guy who did El Topo?
Yeah.
Or
Yep, that's the guy.
Okay. Yeah, El Topo for everyone else. It's one of the movies that kind of started off the midnight movie craze. It's like back in the 70s. So I've never seen it, but it's on my list.
So if you guys all seem to like The Walking Dead, you guys should probably check out Invincible. It's from the same author, and all of it, as far as I know, all of it is all written by him, unless that changed recently.
Robert Kirkman?
Yes,
I
he
would,
wrote all of it.
I would also suggest Invincible. From what little I've read of it, it's a very good superhero story that isn't connected to any other universe.
Have any of you guys read Powers?
I have
Power?
not. I know they're making
Oh,
it
okay.
into a TV show on FX.
I've heard about that going on for years, and I remember I tried to pick it up maybe about 9 years ago or so, but I think I came into it at the wrong place because they went like in this really weird direction. So I don't know. It was I'm contemplating going back and and trying to like pick it up from the beginning. But I need something to kind of read a little bit more.
Preacher is really good.
That's another one of those that I remember coming up a lot on like some of the One Up podcasts where they talk about like, going into bookstores and finding a stack of the trades of that and just glowing about.
I can see how some people would hate it if they were religious or super religious, because it's about the quest for God. It's really good.
Echoing what Biggie said earlier, to recommend any DC books, I would say Alan Moore's run on Swamp Thing and Sandman, which is the entirety of that I'm pretty sure is written by Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, come to think of it,
I've read one of those.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that I've read like one of those arcs. I think it was The Wake. But
well, I was gonna say, I think speaking of Alan Moore, I have read a bunch of his stuff. Like when the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen movie came out, I got the 2 volumes of that.
Great comics, horrible movie.
I like the movie.
The problem with that comic was it was so full of like references that I couldn't even pick up on. Right.
Well, that's why I love Alan Moore, is because like he puts as much research into that as a university historian would, and then he bases fantasy off of it.
Yeah, because he'll be damned if he gets something wrong. Yeah, his work can be really dense, but it can be
rewarding.
as dense as it can be, and tough to penetrate some of that stuff. It's equally the upside on it's just as good, or just as high.
If anybody wants to jump into DC Comics, I would suggest not to start with any Grant Morrison stuff, because he just writes so referentially to stuff that happened in like the Silver Age and the Golden Age. But if you do want to read something by him, read the new run on Action Comics.
I've read a lot of DC stuff, but most of it was from Jeff Johns.
Jeff Johns, he's doing Green Lantern right now and like Aquaman and stuff, and he used to do The Flash.
And I don't know how much of it. I know he did a bunch of Justice Society and Teen Titans.
Yeah, he brought the Teen Titans back again, and he also brought the Justice Society back, and one of the characters in there is actually named after his sister.
Who wrote the Batman arc Hush?
Hush was written by Jeff Loeb, and
okay, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No problem. Yeah, it was written by Jeff Loeb before he kind of went downhill because of his personal problems and stuff, and drawn by Jim Lee.
Yeah, that was the last like monthly arc that I remember reading. It was I remember just being really thrilled with that. That was one of the things that kind of drew me back a little bit, but then after that I kind of fell apart on actually picking stuff up and reading it.
That was before I started picking up monthlies. I only started a few years ago after I got introduced into like Blue Beetle, which spun into Booster Gold and Birds of Prey, and I just got deep into the DC universe.
I read some of the major events. Like, I didn't read the original Crisis, but I read the one where they brought Superboy Prime back.
I think that was Infinite Crisis, and I would suggest not going back to read Crisis on Infinite Earths, because that is just deep and chock full of things you won't get if you don't know things about the DC universe.
Yeah, I was not planning on going back that far. But yeah, I read...
But Barry Allen...
Well, he comes back. Spoilers.
And whenever he came back, his Flash series is, I would say, one of my favorite DC comics, and especially because of the art.
Flash is like the most powerful character in the DC universe.
Absolutely.
I mean, he would destroy Superman.
He's so fast, he runs around the world and runs past himself. He can outrun death.
He can take away the kinetic energy from things so that they can't move.
Yes, it's all happened. The Flash is ridiculous.
If there was an overpowered character in anything, it would be him.
That's kind of funny because you always hear about or talk about Superman being like completely and totally overpowered.
This Flash would destroy him.
people always wonder, how do we write Superman, because he has all this strength and stuff, and they're like, we have to humanize him, but nobody ever seems to come up with those troubles with the Flash.
Because Flash isn't very bright. Like in Teen Titans, Deathstroke was fighting the Teen Titans, and he took out Kid Flash, but by just outsmarting him, he shot him in the knee with a shotgun.
And then that healed at super speed, and they had to set it right by breaking it like 1,000 times.
Yeah, so because it healed so quickly, he couldn't walk. And so they had to keep doing surgery over and over, breaking it.
Who's smoking the acid? Seriously. The PCP.
This sounds
crazy.
like nothing I want to read.
And early 2000s comic books were weird and getting out of the 90s extreme phase.
Yeah. Justice Society is really good. The Jeff Johns Justice Society.
I read some of that. I would also agree with you.
Once he leaves the series, it kind of goes off the deep end, but he comes back for a story arc and it gets good again, and then he leaves and it gets bad again. But there's this one storyline in it that I loved. Yeah, I don't know if you read it, but it's the one where I forget the evil groups. They're like Nazis or something, and they start out by killing the Green Lantern, and then they take over the world by taking away everyone's superpowers.
I have no idea what you were talking about.
Well, in the storyline, they go, and then it goes like 20 years into the future. They're ruling the Earth, and they kill Batman and the Joker side by side, which was kind of funny.
Equality.
Yes. But then all of the people without superpowers, like, strike back and end up saving the day. So, like, Tim Drake and Deathstroke and all them.
I think we should wrap up because Biggie and I are falling asleep.
I'm not saying anything.
Don't back out on me now.
Well, he already made his recommendations. I think we now need to switch from one type of comic book to another type of comic book.
Are you possibly talking about Mr. X's amazing choice in Movie Box?
I am, because that was inspired by comics, if anything else.
I think that was more inspired by music.
Well, okay. Well, do you want to describe your lovely choice first, and then we can get into discussions about it?
Nope.
Okay.
Just think of a black Bruce Lee.
It was The Last Dragon.
The Last Dragon.
I can't believe you guys have never seen it.
My wife has seen it she said she's seen it like 60 times and she loves it.
Yeah, it's like a classic.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed it. Maybe because apparently as a 7-year-old I had better taste in movies. I don't know.
It's a great movie.
I liked it a lot. I watched it this morning, and I just thought the fight scenes were really good, and the music was a bit odd, but it's 80s, so whatever.
It's like the perfect combination of camp and like seriousness. It's a fun movie.
But the music was so obviously product placement.
Well, yeah.
They would just splice in like music videos.
Well, it's how Motown's keeping itself relevant, you know.
This was produced by Barry Gordy.
It's a Motown picture, isn't it?
Yes.
Right in the credits.
Yes.
I feel like we should bring up the best character, Shonuff, the Shogun of Harlem.
Shonuff is amazing.
Shonuff!
It's
Who's
unfortunate.
the prettiest?
It's unfortunate that actor is dead.
Oh, he is?
He was also in Briscoe County Jr.
Was he his sidekick?
Yes.
Oh, he was?
Yep. And he died like a couple years ago.
So I want to. Did anyone pick up on the Coke ads at the start of the movie, and then like why did they just stop? Like there was a whole bunch of Coke is it ads at the very start of the movie, and then like they just stopped. And I would have thought Coke could afford to advertise throughout the whole movie like Motown did.
Well, it was Motown's movie. It wasn't there. They were advertising. They were making it. What did you guys think of the music, by the way? DeBarge.
It was
Feel
very
the rhythm of the night.
I haven't seen this movie in a few years, and this is by far the most 80s movie I have ever seen.
It's very 80s.
I don't think they could have put any more 80s into this movie.
Well, I looked up the actress, the host. Vanity, yeah. So she was one of the leads of Vanity 6, which was like the Prince all-female backup band kind of thing.
Like Apollonia.
Yeah, that's what's the damn song?
Purple Rain.
No, it's like Nasty Girls
Party
or
like it's 1999.
No,
Bat Dance.
When Doves Cry.
That
Dance.
Prince song.
Pretty
No.
sure it's Bat Dance.
Nasty Girl. Who's that nasty
Okay.
girl?
Bat Dance.
I'm living in a fantasy. You say I'm a nasty girl. You know that one.
Bat Dance.
I was reading about
Anyway.
her on on Wikipedia today, and it's like she did so many drugs in the 80s that she now has to have daily dialysis to keep her alive.
Wow.
Even better, she's an evangelical preacher now. She's a born-again Christian now.
She was in Action Jackson.
She said the devil made her do all those drugs, and now she has to speak for the Lord.
It was all that rap music.
I don't think Bruce Leroy would approve of her doing those drugs.
The first
I really like Bruce Lee as a character. He was so straight up.
the first time I caught his name, I started busting out laughing, and I was like, "Are you serious? This guy's name is Bruce Leroy.
No, his name is Bruce Leroy.
Leroy Green.
What's Leroy Green?
Yes.
People
Green's
just
Pizza.
racist.
What is race? What is in like 80s racism like here happening? Seriously.
I think this is the most racist movie ever, maybe. Other than,
No.
like, Birth of a Nation.
Was it 16 Candles?
But
The
this was
Chinese
racist
rumor?
against everything.
It's just the product of its times,
I
you know.
think I caught
Lines
the
like,
N-word.
hey, people afraid of Orientals.
That mastered the art of fighting without knowing how to fight.
Well, it's like, and like as soon as he's like trying to pretend to be black, the Chinese guys all pull out the reefers and start to play dice.
Pretend to be
It's like,
black.
what-
He was black.
Yes,
That is true.
He's so Oriental. He eats popcorn with chopsticks.
I know.
I want to address something else though. Okay, so and even this is kind of typical of that. It's like, okay, so Shonuff is the Shogun of Harlem. So you have,
Sure enough.
and then correct me if I'm wrong on this. Okay, so Shogun, that's a Japanese thing.
Yeah.
Then you have Bruce Leroy over here, who does Kung Fu, which is a Chinese.
You think
Type of
people were
thing.
thinking
No,
about that
it
when
was-
they made this movie?
I'm just saying that
Hey.
it's.
It's like the new Karate Kid was in China and not in Japan, right?
No, well, it's still Pat Morita.
Kung Fu. No, I'm talking the one with Will Smith's kid.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
They were
that's
actually going to
something
call
totally
that
different.
the Kung Fu Kid.
Yeah, it should have been called the Kung Fu Kid, but it wasn't. It was called the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Because,
I thought
for
you were
us
talking
white
about
guys, it's all the same.
I thought you were talking about the one with Hilary
Right?
Swank.
Like the white kid in this movie. He just, does the sounds, does the motions, and then people run away.
Was he white?
I think that
I don't think he was white.
actually Asian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought he was Asian, just trying to sound Italian.
Ah.
He messed with the art of fighting without knowing how to fight.
I like the little Asian kid in this movie. He was good.
You do know who that is,
Yep.
right?
No,
Have you ever seen the movie Surf Ninjas?
no.
Have you ever
Never.
seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze?
Is he the pizza kid?
I
He is.
try to...
You guys didn't see that as soon as you saw him?
He
I
is
totally got
also
that.
in Red Sonja.
The movie based on the comic?
Yeah, with Arnold
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger.
with Schwarzenegger.
And
And Brigitte Nielsen.
how much did you like that the bad guy is the owner of a video arcade? Like,
Did you
I
notice
just-
the one scene with him where he had hair and then the rest of it he was bald?
and his
No.
name is Arcadian? I thought that was brilliant.
You didn't see the scene where he had hair?
Did the fish eat the hair?
No,
What,
it was after
there a
that.
fish in
I don't know what that
It
was.
was
That was-
it was-
They never answered that question. I always wanted to know.
I think it's supposed to be like piranhas or some shit.
there? But piranhas wouldn't be able to live in green goop.
Hot head need cool water.
What did everybody think about the fight scenes in this movie?
The
they were
glow?
okay. No.
That one, oh my god.
That ending fight with all the
Red
the
lightning
fireworks
and shit.
type explosion is great.
Did it explain the red lightning coming off of Shonuff? Because I looked away for a minute and I looked back and all of a sudden
No.
stuff is just
Yeah,
sparking.
well, no. Well, the deal with that is
Well,
that it
robot.
goes back to where he's.
It comes around to start to be good.
It's amazing.
Whereas- yeah, that's why it's...
I didn't even think it was bad.
Yeah, neither did I. I enjoyed it.
No,
It's just the
I
product
loved
of its
it, but
times.
there's nothing redeeming about the movie. But what makes it
Everything
great
is
that
redeeming.
there's
The Bruce Lee clips.
Wait,
redeeming.
let him finish. Let him finish.
It's just like when a movie is so awful, when everything about the movie is so contrived, it just comes together to make awesomeness because it's just so stupidly ridiculous and it's a full circle bad.
How about
Okay, I
means it becomes
disagree.
how
Totally disagree.
about that theater scene at the beginning?
Yes, it's so stupid, but it's wicked because it's so
And
stupid.
he jumps on
I
the
would call it-
boombox.
That was so good.
And it matches up with the Bruce Lee cinema. It's great.
I wouldn't use the word stupid. I would use cheesy.
Yes.
Campy.
Camp.
Campy is good too.
Bring out the s'mores.
Camptastic. Yes, this would make a good camp movie, especially because it's filled with the teenage angst about getting laid.
I didn't think it was that bad
That's
though.
not
Like compared
woven.
to like famous bad movies like Troll 2.
The Room.
Yeah, The
Well,
Room.
yeah, no, I don't think it's like a bad movie by any stretch of that word. I think this is just a fun, campy movie. It was what it achieved what it was trying to achieve.
I thought
Really?
Leroy talking with his younger brother about like sex advice and stuff. That was kind of weird.
Those
It was
scenes
really
are not
awesome.
good. They're probably the least entertaining part of the movie.
What about the
No, but,
other
like-
singer in the movie?
The Cindy Lauper
Yeah,
one?
the really annoying voice.
Gosh, that voice was gonna drive me bananas.
You want to go for a test drive? That's right. The only way to impress a woman is to let her order a la carte. I know what you want. Like, the lines are just so awfully good. Oh my god.
Who did you think was the better villain, Eddie Arcadia or Shonuff?
Show
Show
enough.
enough.
Come on.
Oh,
By a mile.
Eddie Arcadia.
I don't know. I liked Eddie Arcadia because he's so ridiculous as a villain.
Yes,
He's
he,
like,
he was like a comic book character.
So
Pretty
does
much.
Shonuff.
Lex Luthor or some shit.
Shonuff.
It's like-
Show enough.
Shonuff
Shonuff.
is like a gang fighter, right? Whereas
He's the
Eddie
Shogun
Arcadia,
of Harlem.
He's an arcade operator who's trying to use violence
Did you
to
not
promote
just
his
hear what I said?
girlfriend.
He's the
Show
Shogun
enough.
of Harlem.
Yes.
Am I the meanest?
Sure enough.
Sure enough.
You're saying it wrong, Biggie.
Sick. I can't pronounce anything.
Show enough.
Who's the
Shonuff.
master?
Sure enough.
Who's the master?
Most Def.
Yeah, sounds like we all like this movie a lot.
It is what it is. I mean, it was just kind of cheesy and
It was longer than I thought it would be.
It was an hour 48 minutes long.
Well,
yeah.
It was.
This movie is an hour and 48 minutes long.
you gotta pack in all those music videos.
The
And
bars.
did you notice? Did anyone watch the credits?
Didn't it have
I
the
did
song
not.
like The Last Dragon?
Cause
Yes.
oh yeah, you need to glow to grow. Like gold. I don't know whose job was to write that, but they didn't get paid enough. Cause in the credits they like play snippets of every single song throughout the movie, and it's like, yep, you're trying to sell me a soundtrack album.
What do you think of the Bruce Lee montage music video?
Wah.
Did she cut
was
that
alright.
herself or something, or was that just available to her to show him?
I think it was implied that she did it, but she was like, "Hold
On
on,
the
wait
fly.
here 5 minutes. I'll be right back."
My favorite Bruce Lee films.
That's how you get an awkward black man pretending to be Bruce Lee.
That guy was definitely not an actor. He was just a black belt like old kid.
He has done almost no movies since then.
Well, he's a stuntman.
He does a lot of television.
Eddie Arcadia is a voice actor. He did a voice in Red Dead Redemption.
I kept imagining him whenever they would say Eddie as Eddie Valiant from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Well, as far as actors go, I was really surprised to see William H. Macy in there.
Yes.
I was wondering if you guys were going to catch that.
Who is
Yeah,
that?
Bill Mason, W.H.
You
Mason.
don't know
He
who
was.
William H. Macy is?
I don't understand these actors.
JJ.
He... What?
Was
that the character name?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was.
JJ.
His character's name was JJ.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
He's
He
like
was,
in the movie for like 5 minutes.
you might
Less.
best know him as the dad in Jurassic Park 3.
Or from Fargo.
Nah,
Fargo.
Jurassic Park 3.
You're just
He
the
I
name
was
would
of
also
say
the
from
dad.
Mystery Men. He was
He
the
was
shoveler.
also.
Oh,
He was also the dad in Pleasantville.
He's been in
Which-
a lot.
I've never seen any of these movies.
Did you know that up
should
until
definitely see
Star
Fargo.
Wars? Did you know that up until the time that Star Wars: The Phantom Menace came out, that the movie Pleasantville had the record for the most CGI composite scenes in movie history?
That is really surprising.
Did
I
I
would believe it, though.
There's one
Yeah,
thing.
because they had to take the color out and do different things with it. Like have scenes where certain things are colored and certain things aren't.
He was also in Wild Hogs. Have you seen
I've
Wild
seen
Hogs?
that. I've seen Wild Hogs.
There you go. You've seen something with him in it.
Oh,
He's
Lily Mae
on
Tracy.
the
Now I know who
Showtime
you're
series.
talking about. He's in Shameless.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was going to say he's on the Showtime series Shameless. Where's my dinner?
Did anyone appreciate the white Mr. T in the final fight with all the evil bosses?
They pantsed him?
Yeah! I was like, oh my god, it's white Mr. T!
What about the guy, the Goliath guy who bit the nunchuck?
I didn't get that. Like, they assemble all this talent and then they just kind of wasted it. Instead of having like a series of mini bosses, no, they just have them all brawl little school children at the end in the discotheque. What?
Then at the end,
That wasn't a discotheque.
bit him in the leg.
Sure, it was. It was Heaven 7. Heaven 7 was like a...
Seventh Heaven.
Seventh Heaven was...
It was the set of a TV show
Called
Seventh Heaven.
So it was on the set of the show that had Jessica Alba and
Yes.
Yep, that's it.
okay.
Hilarious. All right.
Just so we're all on the same
It
page.
was
Good
on that
Christian
set
television,
10
that's
years
what that
before
was.
it was created.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can wrap up on this good choice by Mr. X.
I want to hear some DeBarge mixed in with the podcast.
Not happening.
Feel the rhythm of the night.
Now, if anything gets mixed in based on the events of yesterday, I'm gonna mix in some Beastie Boys.
Topical.
It's very sad.
It is.
Way to bring us down.
It's what I do.
And you can also present your movie box pick because you are next.
Oh, okay. So, hey, remember the '90s?
Nope.
I do.
Blurry.
Okay, well, in the early '90s, there was this great Seattle band called Pearl Jam that they kind of burst onto the scene. Well, they've been around for about 20 years now. They actually had a documentary made about them, directed by Cameron Crowe, and it's Pearl Jam 20. It is on Netflix Instant Streaming. I've watched it a few times, but it's really good. I highly recommend it. A lot of good music, a lot of good kind of everything. So get to learn about some of the things that led to the formation of the band, some of the things that kind of shaped the whole Seattle music scene, and therefore kind of the whole scene of music in the early 90s as well. So yeah, Pearl Jam 20.
Sounds cool. I prefer Nirvana though.
We are going to butt heads.
I like Pearl
Rape
Jam.
me.
I'm not gonna rape you, Biggie.
Oh.
I think that will end the podcast then.
Well, stay tuned after
yes?
the credits.
Well, I was gonna get to that.
Right. Go for it.
I would like to thank Biggie, CrossXhunter, and special guest Tumble for joining us this week. Let's see, what else am I supposed to say?
Rodney's going to join us after the credits.
Yeah, Rodney and Kevin EP3 are probably going to join us for the Avengers spoiler talk after this. If you enjoyed this podcast, please donate to the official Geekbox Mumble server, where we record it and we also hang out and talk. If you'd like to be on this podcast, you send a PM to Mr. X, Totoro, or me, Dakazu, on the Geekbox forums at forums.geekbox.net. And you should go to the forums and find the Draw Something thread and play Draw Something against us, because we're still playing. It's a lot of fun. And make sure to listen to the other Geekbox podcasts, including the Geekbox, Comic Conspiracy, Comedy Bun Podcast, and Good Job Brain as well. And that's going to end it for this. Tune in after the outro for Avengers Spoiler Talk. I love it.
I know.
Okay, we are here to talk about Avengers, the movie, and spoilers. This is all going to be spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled on the movie, don't listen. I'm Dakazu, and who is with me now?
Kevin EP3.
Mr. X.
Rodney.
And not Roddy, but Totoro.
Oh wait, I mean Rodney.
We're all Rodneys.
Rodney.
Okay, so the Avengers. So
Hulk smash!
How great was this movie?
Let's go
I thought he said like clinch up Legolas or something.
Yeah, he
right?
said
Wait.
said clench up.
Okay, so
guys.
So when Hulk, in one of the best scenes of the movie, when Hulk beats the crap out of Loki and slams him back and forth on the ground, people were cracking up in my theater, and I did not hear what Hulk said.
Puny
what did
God.
he say? That is hilarious.
And then that means you also missed the sound Loki was making after.
What?
He was just wheezing.
It was great.
It was so good.
This movie was awesome.
You know, a lot of people were predicting it wouldn't come together for a good reason, because it's really hard to make a movie with so many main characters. And they
Also-
all had to have a lot of screen time for it to work, or people would be mad.
I remember reading the Entertainment Weekly on the Avengers with some interviews of Joss Whedon, and he was still rewriting some of the script and stuff, which it never sounds good, right? When you're in the middle of shooting.
Yeah, rewriting and refining.
Well,
That
Joss
always
Whedon
sounds like bad things.
is a writer.
Yes, he is.
He is an
Well-
Oscar-nominated writer.
He's also a fuckhead.
Well,
what?
and
You guys know what I'm talking about. Typical Joss Whedon. What does he like to do?
make good
Mhm.
movies.
Make things about groups of characters.
No, he likes to kill off characters you like.
Oh, yeah.
Phil Coulson.
Yeah.
But that was well done.
I don't care if
Because
it's well done. Stop
it does-
killing off people I like.
It doesn't work if they don't have something to... That was his last words. Last word was going to
Be
be
glad it
avenged.
wasn't Samuel L. Jackson.
I was kind of expecting it to be. I knew someone was going to die because it was Joss Whedon.
No, Joss Whedon, of course, is going to pick like the character you like.
So yeah, that's why I was thinking Samuel L. Jackson or Tony Stark.
I don't. You know, to me, in modern comic book movies, there are two things you don't do. One is you don't kill your villains anymore, and two, you definitely don't kill your heroes.
I don't know, Joss Whedon likes to kill things.
That fucker. I was really pissed when that agent died.
Coulson.
Mm-hmm.
So
Phil Coulson.
He was watching Captain America while he slept.
No, you mean he was standing there while he was unconscious.
yeah,
With
There's-
the trading cards.
But can we all agree that the Hulk is the best part of the movie?
yeah.
Yes.
I don't want to
think-
say the best part, but he was an awesome part.
What was better?
I don't even know. But that I
Then
can't like
he
say
wins by
I
default.
can't say a part was better or worse.
Remember
Well,
when he was fighting Thor?
Mhm.
That was pretty great. And he
And
was
then
going to pick up the
afterwards-
hammer.
He damn near did.
He would have done it.
It would have just taken him another minute.
Because he would have gotten mad that he wasn't able to lift it, and then it would have made him stronger, and then he would have picked it up.
They did such a good job with the Hulk, considering the other two Hulk movies are not as good as the other Marvel superhero movies.
I think that one's just like a really. I don't know if it's just really tough to like make a Hulk movie, or if they've just not had the right people doing it. Like
Well,
the right
they
people
always-
I
writing
think it's
it.
the right people doing it.
They always just treat him like a simple monster instead of the good guy. And he is a good guy. He's a hero. They need to treat him like a hero and have him doing stuff like a hero does.
Instead of almost like a fugitive.
Yes. Keep expecting him to say, it wasn't me, it was one armed man
Yeah,
in
yeah.
all of his movies.
I don't care.
And then jump out of the sewer thing.
Into the
Rodney, what did you like?
Captain America.
Do you wish it was Captain Canada?
Captain Canuck.
Yes.
Yeah, no. I feel like Captain America is the leader of this movie.
Well, he was.
Yeah, he kind of is.
Well, he became.
I kind of wish they wrote more kind of comedic stuff for him, because everyone else had like good kind of comedy parts, but he didn't really have.
He had
His
that one
many.
line
But that-
where he's
but
like,
that-
I got it. I got that reference.
Yeah, but
He's like, I got
mean,
that one. That one.
That's
that one I knew.
one, and then I laughed when he gave the $10 to
Yeah,
Samuel
Yeah.
Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
There was a
other
lot-
than those two, he wasn't involved with any just like kind of comedic parts in the movie.
But that really fits though, because he's out of time. You know, he's out of his time. So to me it fits a little bit that he doesn't. You know,
Well, I mean,
get
Thor has funny parts, and he's from another planet.
He's crazy.
Yeah, that's
But
But
I
he
like
mean,
comes
culture
from the
shock.
land of Shakespeare.
Yeah,
That was such a great line
That was good.
that Tony Stark had.
Shakespeare in the Park.
His world is so different from Earth, but Cap's world, like Cap's Earth that he came from, is so different from this world that he's in now. So I feel
True.
like they still could do like kind of funny comparison kind of things like that.
Like in the Thor's movie, like when he was at that diner and he was drinking coffee, and then he threw the mug down on the ground and asked for another.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Well, there was a
so
part-
good.
There was a part where he said this appears to be made from electricity.
Oh yeah, I did forget that. That was pretty
He
good.
has some good one-liners.
Yeah, he did.
In general, I think the humor in this movie was a big surprise.
It was great.
It was very welcome.
Well, have you guys watched Buffy?
No.
I have
Nope.
not.
Then I can see why you thought the humor was a surprise.
I don't
Well, I
feel
figured
like
it'd be
it was
funny
surprising.
based on what I've seen of Firefly and Serenity and other Joss Whedon stuff. I haven't seen Buffy myself, but yeah, he's known for his witty like comebacks and snappy dialogue.
Yeah, and group dynamics. He's like
Yep,
the perfect
and-
choice.
Yeah, and
Which-
killing people you like. That fucker.
Group
Definitely.
dynamics in movie, one of the best things about that movie.
So there's one thing that I want to talk about, and it was just this one little sequence. I wonder if anyone else kind of picked on it as as much as I did at the time. But one of the absolute best bits of it, had to start as storyboarding, but it was in the final fight scene, where everything is obviously going completely fucking apeshit, and everyone's all spread out, so it makes it a little bit more of a challenge to seamlessly go between some of the different action that's going on. But there's this one sequence where they just almost as like one shot, they composite everything together, where it goes from Hawkeye and Black Widow, doing their thing, holding off all of the aliens, and then kind of swings over to Cap and Iron Man, and then it goes up to Thor and Hulk, on the flying thing that's going around. I don't know if did anyone else catch that.
No,
I just thought it was really great.
I know what part you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
I
really
agree
good.
with that. I just
I
like
think that part was in 3D.
no one,
I didn't watch it in 3D.
no
I didn't
one
watch it in 3D.
felt
I
like
saw in 3D.
It was great in 3D.
it was fine in 3D. I don't get all
wasn't-
the hate for
It wasn't
3D.
shot in 3D though. It was
No.
It
just
wasn't
converted.
bad though. That doesn't mean it would be bad because it was pretty good in some parts.
Yeah, the
I
sequences
think
were
I
well
would
done.
have. I would have wished to have seen it in regular D, but I didn't really have a choice.
Regular
Regular
D.
D.
Regular
Yeah,
D.
I've seen it in 2D and in 3D.
That's right.
And it
It's
didn't make
the
a
best
difference.
D. Regular D.
I watch all my movies in Super D.
Super D. That's fancy.
Super D is the best D.
Regular D is the
I'd
best.
say double D is the best.
I
Perv.
can concur.
Kevin saw this movie twice today.
What,
I thought
did
you saw it once
twice a day,
yesterday
or-
and once
Well,
today.
yeah, once yesterday, once today.
Did you notice anything new on the second viewing?
No, but I noticed because I saw it in IMAX the first time. It's a hell of a lot quieter
Was that in
Um,
IMAX or?
in regular movie theater.
Oh,
Because
okay.
man, that IMAX
It's not the
has one
22.2.
badass sound system.
Yeah.
But the regular movie theater, I was just sitting there thinking like, oh man, I like in comparison, like it's just like, oh, I just remember this being so much louder.
I didn't hear this line, but I've read that at some point someone said someone call Hank,
Oh.
referring to Ant-Man.
Well, that could have that. To be honest, though, that could have also been McCoy.
Well, Marvel doesn't have the X-Men rights, so I think legally it couldn't be.
Did you guys see the Galaga part?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
was
great.
so good.
That was
That
so well
guy-
done.
The guy's
playing
playing
Galaga.
Galga. Yeah.
And then you think it's just like something he's saying, but right before the scene cuts off, he goes to that guy and just shows him switch back and start
I
playing
got
it.
lots of big laughs in the theater.
Yeah, theater was digging it.
You know, I think the biggest laughs of the movie was there was one when the Hulk was standing next to Thor after they took down that big flying thing, and then Hulk just punched him for no reason.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the Loki part
With again. the
with Hulk, yeah. Yeah. Those are the two biggest laughs.
Also, the
Yeah,
end
definitely.
credits.
Yeah.
You mean at the very end?
Oh,
After the credits.
yeah.
Man,
That got a lot
so
of
many,
laughs.
so many people. I would say less than 10% of people in my theater stayed.
Yeah, what is wrong with people?
Well-
Have they never seen a Marvel movie?
Then and so at the very very end of the credits, they go to that place that Tony Stark was talking about, and I can't remember what
Shawarma.
it was. Shawarma.
Yeah.
What
What
is
the hell is
shawarma?
shawarma?
It's like a pita sandwich falafel thing.
Oh, okay, that kind of makes
And
sense.
it's like a 30-second sequence in silence where they're just eating.
Yeah,
And it's no
Everyone
cuts.
expects-
It's just a steady shot.
Yeah.
you know they
great.
filmed that. They filmed that right after the premiere. They
Makes sense.
added that in because they were on the red carpet and they were, talking to Robert Downey Jr. And he said, "Yeah, I think we're gonna go shoot some more footage here after we get done," and that's what they were shooting.
That's great.
And
And it kept looking like Bruce Banner was about to say something, but then he just
Yeah.
ate.
That was
Pretty funny. I noticed that Mark Ruffalo was laughing a little bit.
Thor was just chomping on the sandwich.
And the sandwich was about to fall apart.
Yeah.
What did you think about the first thing after the beginning of the credits?
That was
Oh,
Thanos, right?
Thanos.
No idea who that is.
Me neither.
Oh shit! Are we
He's
actually
from
in a...
Marvel. He's from Marvel Superheroes, the arcade
Whoa,
game, fighting game.
So
Or the
hold on a
gems.
second. I need to revel in the fact that this is like a comic thing, and we're on the podcast here, and I know who this person is more than anyone else here. So I just need to revel in this fact.
I thought maybe it was going to be a Super Skrull. But no Super Skrull.
Okay,
So-
okay, Mr. Big Shot Totoro.
Okay.
Mr. Teacher.
Okay, so
Put on your crown.
oh yeah, I'm putting it on.
Princess.
Okay, it's on. Okay, so Thanos is basically he's a Titan. He's one of the major villains in the Marvel universe. He deals a lot more with the galactic sort of Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, Adam Warlock type of books more so than your Avengers and X-Men. So I was actually kind of surprised to see that happen. But basically, I think I've heard someone else say when I was describing him, someone else was comparing him to Darkseid in the DC universe. But he's hell bent on destroying the universe and the multiverse, not just enslaving mankind or enslaving this planet or that planet. I mean, he wants to destroy the whole thing. And they actually had these series of events, major events, for they were called, it was Infinity, whatever. They had the Infinity War, Infinity Gauntlet.
The Infinity Gauntlet, which is from the Marvel Superheroes arcade game, Infinity Gauntlet.
I think you can see the gauntlet in Odin's chamber, Odin's trophy room in Thor.
Okay. I still haven't seen Thor, so I probably
You're
should
missing
have done
out.
that.
You should see Thor. Thor is pretty underrated.
I wouldn't say underrated.
I would say it's
equally rated.
It's not.
It's
It's
rated.
not bad, but
I'd say
I
it's
wouldn't
the
say it's
third-
too good either.
I'd say it's the third best Marvel movie.
Well, I should qualify that. I have seen Thor, but I have not heard Thor. It was on a flight when I was flying out to Seattle. And I think you guys have heard me say that a number of times by now.
I have.
So I created dialogue in my head.
I like Thor. I think it could be considered better than Iron Man 2.
I think
someone,
Iron Man 2 is the
See?
worst Marvel movie.
I really liked Iron Man 2. Oh, really? Worse than Daredevil? Worse than X-Men 3?
Those
I'm
aren't Marvel
talking about
movies.
within
I mean, the
the-
movies made by Marvel.
Yeah, and I'm talking within
Wasn't
the
Daredevil?
Avenger stuff.
No, that was
No,
Fox.
that was before.
Wow.
But best Hulk.
God, that's so tough because I mean,
What do you mean? There's it's
actor.
obvious.
I still think Edward Norton looks a better Hulk.
well,
I don't
a
know.
better banner.
Because Mark, how do you say is that Ruffalo?
Ruffalo.
Whatever. I don't care. He just strikes me as a guy because I've seen too many movies where he plays this, but he just kind of looks like a hippie to me.
I think he played the part better than Edward Norton.
Because you see Edward Norton and the movie I think that makes him look best is how he could play that part is Fight Club, where he's the tech guy kind of, the nerdy looking guy no one cares about, and that he fits that role more than I think Mark Ruffalo does.
Well, you could also see, if he would have played it more either of the characters in Primal Fear. Spoilers for Primal Fear.
So you guys watched Thor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes,
Can
but I
someone
didn't hear
explain
it.
to me why is the lead weatherman from Thor like the top scientist?
Wait, he was a weatherman?
Wasn't he?
No.
Yeah,
He was called
so.
in.
Wasn't he like a weather guy, Natalie Portman?
No, she called him in as a favor. He was like a professor somewhere, and he was saying he had all these contacts, and he knew who S.H.I.E.L.D. was and everything in the movie.
I guess that makes sense.
You should. I just watched it
I should
last
rewatch
week.
it.
You should. You're gonna like it better.
You know, speaking of characters from the other movies, I'm really surprised they got Gwyneth Paltrow for as much as they did.
I was
I'm
surprised too.
not.
I'm not really that surprised.
I'm
They only had a
surprised they.
picture.
I'm surprised they
Natalie
got a
Portman.
picture of Natalie Portman.
Yeah. From the
I wonder
internet.
how much she got paid for that.
Which
Who,
one?
Natalie Portman, because she,
Nothing.
she probably,
Yeah.
no.
It's archive footage.
I don't know.
They own it.
That was
They can do
taken
whatever
from
they want.
Thor.
Yeah.
So, but it's Iron Man got the crap kicked out of him throughout the whole movie. His
Yeah.
suit was so beat up.
Even his new one, the Mark 7.
Yeah, I
Like-
was expecting that to look a little different when it came flying out.
Well,
But no,
it's
it
kinda-
looked exactly the same.
No, it was kind of nice though to see that the arc reactor in his chest wasn't a triangle anymore. It was circular again.
Yeah, the 7, yeah, that's true.
I'm surprised that they were able to not solely focus on Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man as much as I expected.
Well, I mean,
Well-
yeah, you'd think they would because he's the most like outspoken, charismatic one of them.
Well, that's kind of what
They-
I was saying before. Like, you don't feel like any character in that movie is just like in it too much, has too much talking or something, and like none of them are like, he's in the background too much. I wish he'd say something.
And no one gets overshadowed.
Except for Hawkeye.
Yeah,
But that's because of plot-based stuff.
definitely.
I'm not. I don't know too much about Hawk.
Apparently, he has a superpower.
He's pretty badass.
His superpower is he doesn't miss, apparently. And apparently, that's really his mutant superpower.
Is that possible?
I don't know, that's what Totoro told me.
So it's like Daredevil?
Well, Daredevil
Or no, not Daredevil.
has
That other
sonar.
guy. Who's that other guy in the Daredevil movie?
Bullseye,
Bullseye. So he's like Bullseye, except with bows and arrow?
I guess. I mean, there was that one shot in the Avengers, he just shot the arrow behind him without looking. That was pretty cool.
Tony Stark called him Legolas.
It fit.
That
He was
good.
he was being so reverential to everything. There were so many
That's what he
pop
does.
culture references. I was kind of surprised that he was allowed to call him Legolas because Marvel doesn't own Lord of the Rings.
Well, you can still say the word Legolas.
It's that name
Yeah.
names something else that has a character named Legolas in it.
The
Well,
Hobbit.
no, I'm saying it. I
The
don't see
Hobbit
why there
movie?
would be a problem with him calling him Legolas.
No, yeah, it's not. It's if they had started acting out Lord of the Rings, that would have been an issue. But
Yeah, I suppose.
Is there any part that anyone didn't like?
I don't
I
like
didn't.
in any Marvel comic book or movie, the Hulk, his pants would not stay on like that.
What are you talking about?
His pants never come off.
It's
They-
because
how they
he,
just
He has
stretch?
dress pants that can stretch like 20 times their normal size.
I don't
But
want to see.
didn't you
Hulk's
notice-
No, I'm not.
balls.
My idea for it would be I don't see because in the
didn't you notice
Fantastic
when he
Four.
came driving up on the motorcycle, his pants were way too big for him?
so they
That's
can
because the
grow that
guy-
big. That's what you're telling me.
No, that was because the security guard gave him different
True.
set of clothes.
But it
No,
was
I-
still too big. And in the Incredible Hulk movie, he buys pants in the movie, and you see his process for buying pants.
Well, in my mind, I think it should work like how it did in the Fantastic Four, where like like a suit for him is created where it can stretch that big, you know?
So you want to
And
see
then
the Hulk
shrink
running
it.
around wearing a lab coat?
No, but what's his name? The stretchy guy.
Yeah, I
In
know.
Fantastic,
That's like
he makes the
Reaper
suits that work for him. He can stretch out as far as he wants, and it stretches with him. Why
That's
can't they
because
just do that pants for him?
Well, no, he didn't make them. That's what they were wearing when they got hit by it in Fantastic Four.
I thought he
No.
made it that way.
No, yeah, he made it that way because
sure?
otherwise he would have been wearing the flight suit.
Yeah,
I
he
thought they
definitely made
And
it that way.
unless Ben Grimm was just wearing his underwear.
He was in space.
Yeah, he was completely buck-ass naked except for his underwear.
Isn't that how you survive in space?
That's how. Maybe that's why he turned into rock. That's because he didn't have the extra protection, whereas the rest of them, still kind of normal.
And the other guy was completely on fire.
Exactly. A flame. Captain America was set aflame in Fantastic Four movies.
I really hope that Marvel gets the Fantastic Four license back, and then they put the Fantastic Four in it, and they keep all the same actors.
That'd be great.
Well, Ian Griffith actually did a really good Reed Richards.
And he was a pretty good Human Torch.
Well, but he's been in like every single comic book movie that's come out in the past 20 years.
Pretty
He's
much.
been in a lot.
He was in Scott Pilgrim,
The
Losers,
Fantastic Four, Fantastic Four 2,
Captain America, Avengers.
The Avengers 2, Electric Vingaloo.
So yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah,
I would watch that again.
I may be going to see it a third time.
Yeah, I do have one thing that I want to bring up as far as, you were talking about things that you didn't like about it. And I didn't like how when, the action was over and then they did the Thanos reveal, then they went through the entire credits, and then after that they were at the shawarma place eating, and then after that the movie completely ended. That sucked. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I should have kept going.
Exactly.
You're basically saying you want more Avengers.
I want so much more of that.
It's going to be so long. It's going to be at least 2 years, probably more.
I'd say probably 3.
Did you see... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say Iron Man 3 and Thor 2 are next year, and then Captain America and Ant-Man are the next year.
So then Avengers year after.
Probably. That's what I would
Hopefully.
say.
Hopefully.
Who's directing Iron Man 3?
I don't know.
Probably Jon Favreau.
No,
right?
he's not.
No, it's not.
Oh, he's not? Oh.
Well, didn't I read something that after the next Iron Man, maybe Robert Downey Jr. won't be doing it anymore?
I'm pretty sure he likes money.
And fame.
It's being directed by Shane Black.
It is, and he is also making Lethal Weapon 5.
I don't know how they top this movie, though. It's going to be pretty hard.
Yeah, the only movie he's directed is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It's going to be weird.
So on the main podcast, we were talking a little bit, and we said this is the best superhero movie.
Comic book movie.
Yeah, comic book movie.
Because technically, Batman would be a better superhero movie.
I don't know.
I would say better superhero movie, but it's not a comic book movie.
That's what we said.
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is pretty great.
I didn't like that movie.
I love that movie.
Fuck off, Kevin. Seriously, that movie is great.
I loved it.
No,
we will not be hearing any more from Kevin for the rest of the spoiler section. I will edit him out from here on out.
I think I should mute him.
I'm
highly considering it.
Thor 2 has a different director as well.
So Hawkins from Predator is directing Iron Man 3.
Alan Taylor is the director of Thor 2. He directed a bunch of Game of Thrones episodes. I'm on board.
I guess we'll see, but man, Avengers. Wow. People should go see that movie.
Go see it.
Definitely. I mean, do you want to see the Hulk be amazing? Then you should see the movie.
Who doesn't?
The Hulk was so good. Remember when he was like, my secret is I'm always angry? Remember that?
I didn't think that part was all too good,
and then
except for when he punched it and killed it.
And then he turned into the Hulk, and then it was that big giant flying thing, and then he stopped it single-handedly.
That was awesome.
That was pretty awesome.
Then Captain America was telling him all what jobs they need to do, and then he just looked at the Hulk and said, Hulk, smash, and then the Hulk smiled.
Yeah.
That smile needs to be gift.
Yeah. I'm sure it already is.
I do like they said Hulk smash, though.
Yeah.
Puny God.
I like when Cap is Dirk Ops. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Why should we listen to you?
Good. And then he beats the crap out of a million aliens, and then they are like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good movie.
Quick show of hands. Who actually thought that that there was a possibility that Iron Man was going to be lost through the portal?
Me.
Whatever.
Nobody.
Nobody. Come on.
I did.
What?
I suppose.
I could have seen it happen.
Kevin, did you know that gullible is not in the dictionary? It's true.
I suppose if that was going to be a setup for Iron Man 3, it could have happened.
Lost in space.
Yeah, it could have.
And then he comes back to Earth
Seriously,
right away.
go check a dictionary.
Although that suit probably couldn't last too long in space.
Well, and he was out of power.
And
you
he was
really
in
thought
space.
he was not going to make it back?
No, I mean,
No,
in,
I'm
the,
just-
in, the
possibility.
in the trailer, it shows the Hulk catching him. Of
I
course he was
didn't
coming
see
back.
it. I don't remember that part from the trailer. I watched the trailer once and that was it.
That's, you know what, but I would say that's another example of the trailer ruining, like, a potential surprise, right? Because
Oh,
I know I
definitely. Yeah,
didn't
was
see the
waiting for
Hulk
that.
grabbing him, so I was like, well, now he's going to fall through. So
I mean, I
knew
knew it wasn't going to happen, but I could have seen it happening.
Can't Thor fly?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was spinning up Mjolnir to
Meow meow.
Yeah, because they're all just standing around
Mjolnir.
saying, look, he's falling.
Mjolnir.
Meow meow.
Somebody should do something.
Meow.
Meow.
Yeah,
Oh,
makes-
yeah, he couldn't
You
hear it, so
haven't-
he doesn't get it.
Yeah, you haven't
No.
seen Thor or heard
No, I
Thor.
haven't.
Meow meow.
Okay.
It'll make
I
a
think
lot
we
more
should-
sense.
I'll
we
take
are
your
going
word
to
for
end
it.
now. Go see Avengers. It's awesome.
In fact, go
Five
see
stars.
it like
Wait a
18
sec.
times.
Well, if you haven't seen it, then why the hell did you just listen to this whole thing?
Yeah, exactly.
You're
yeah,
what
like
the
You are a
Twin
jerk.
Peaks cast.
What in the fuck is wrong with you people?